Yo, what up, my Goonies? It's your boy Beastly, and welcome back to another episode of the Bate Escape Podcast. You know, the podcast dedicated to all things soul sexuality and goon culture. I'm so happy that you're here. I have a really great episode for you today. And in today's episode, I sit and chat with the very sexy content creator, RyRyLust. If you don't know who they are, you're going to find out today. They're so great and fun to chat with. We talk a lot about cool things in this episode. Some of those things are obsessing over rom com movies. That was a fun part of the conversation. We also talk about being spiritual versus being religious. We talk about the importance of mental health and how everyone should have access to a therapist. And then we also talk about redefining what sex is to you and how it should be had. He's an amazing person, really passionate about masturbation and soul sexuality. Go follow them over on all of their socials. I have the link in the description of this episode. Thank you so much for joining and listening to this episode. If you've been a long time listener, thank you so much for your support. If you're new to this podcast, hey, welcome. Thank you so much for taking a chance and opening your mind and getting curious about the topic. I'm so happy that you're here. As a reminder, it really helps if you follow, like, comment, subscribe, share this podcast with someone that you love, a friend, your neighbor, just so more people can get more familiar with the topic of masturbation and self love and all those really fun things that we talk about in the community. So, without further ado, sit back and enjoy this episode of the Beta Escape Podcast with RyRyLust. Thanks so much for listening. What's going on? Yeah.
Just
The what? Oh, that's good. That looks good. That's a
scrambled
good view.
a scrambled morning. Sorry about that. That's totally my fault.
No, that's okay. I feel like time differences are weird. Have you ever had to deal with
Yeah.
like international times? That's even more stressful.
No, I can't even get the local ones down. So
No, I know.
uh,
I see Cocky in the back. Hi.
yeah, he's helping me set up because his microphone is working and mine is not.
Yeah, it sounds
That's fair.
amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. And just a little frazzled. I'm embarrassed because I'm like never late ever. So
You were late for me. I feel like that means something.
I don't know. I guess it was
Maybe you
maybe
like me better than the rest. Wait, the what? You're nervous?
yeah.
Why are you nervous?
Well, I mean, I've never done anything like this, so
You never talked
first
about
time.
masturbation.
Huh?
You never talked about masturbation. I find
No,
that hard to believe. Yeah.
almost every day.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. So I feel
Yeah.
like you're gonna be like a natural at this.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see.
Um, while I was waiting for you to jump on the call, I was watching, those random, like when you scroll, I primarily do it on Instagram. You'll scroll Instagram and you'll see like those shorts.
Hmm.
And it's just like these random videos of like people like walking into glass doors and like really destructive things. And you're just like, how are these people like surviving?
Like walking hard enough to break it.
Yeah, like it'll just be like some person on their phone and then they'll like try to go into a convenience store not knowing it's a glass and it opens and they'll
Oh
just
my.
like straight walk through it and like the whole glass will shatter. It's wild. And like
Like,
people are like punking people at 7-Eleven and then they're like getting shot at. It's insane.
oh my God.
It's
That's
just
very,
wild the things that people grab on their phones. Like we're
that's
able to
kind
do.
of the chaotic energy that I like to like scroll through in the morning. I like watching like Fail Army. I like I used to love World Star. I know that's kind of cringe now, but
Doesn't that doesn't that like mess up your day though? Like you're just like inundated with like all this like weird
not really. I don't
oh
know. It like tickles my brain in a weird way because I don't see any of that type of stuff in real life, so it feels not real.
right.
So
Yes, that's no, that's totally relatable. I don't want to see it in real life. I only want
Right.
to
I
see it
know it
in
happens.
video.
I know it's everywhere. I'm just fortunate enough to not really have seen it in person a whole lot. So,
Yeah, because I feel like if I did see it in person, I'd freak. Like I don't even know what I would do. Like, what do you do watching someone walk into a glass door? Like I would just like
yeah,
stare, like
because like
record a video.
they get hurt or whatever, like people who try to intervene and help people that are in accidents end up getting sued for like not doing a good enough job or, you know, doing messing up one area trying to help a person. So like sometimes it's
Yeah, no, it's true. And then you're like let's say someone's getting beat up and you like try to help intervene, and then you start getting beat up on. And you're just
yeah,
like, well, I was just like an innocent bystander
I
trying
just
to like,
trying to
keep the
make up.
peace. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just feel like everyone needs to like learn how to fight. No, I'm kidding.
I have never been in a fight. I know that's shocking, but like I just
Um, I feel like I've never been in a fight. I've been threatened a lot. People just
yeah.
don't fuck with me. I feel like people just don't fuck with you either. I feel like you and I can relate because we're just like big guys.
Yeah, I've
Some
always
people
been the
just look
biggest
at
guy in
us
the
and
room.
yeah,
So
same. And so people are just look at us and they're just like, oh, I don't want to fuck with this guy.
like we'll say some shit, but we won't actually do some shit.
But I feel like if it came down to it, I feel like you could throw hands.
I mean, in theory, I like to think so. I like my dad put me through karate as a kid, but that was as a kid, so that's not very threatening to be like, I'm a black belt when I was a teenager. Like
Yeah, but it feels like riding a bike. I feel like instinctually, like if you get threatened, like it'll
that's
just
the
kick in.
whole idea is like teach fundamentals and learn how to take a hit and all of that. So hopefully
Yeah.
that stuff kind of stuck, but I certainly can't do a tornado kick anymore.
What's a tornado kick?
It's like where you start facing forward and then you kick one leg in the air and then you turn around and you kick with the other one right behind it.
I see.
Yeah.
Are you making an
I had to do
actual
it for the
tornado with that kick? Or no? It's not like Street Fighter.
no.
Oh,
Can't Chun-Li it out. I can't do it.
damn. Imagine if you could like like kick someone Chung-Li style, like
that's
spinning bird kick, like just
that's how
fucking.
I would greet everybody at every event. Honestly. Nobody forgets that. Everybody there will be like, "Did you remember that dude?"
Yeah. You'd be able to talk on Twitter, be like, do you remember Ryan when he
Yeah.
split open his legs, just
We
started kicking
invited
everybody?
him to debate and he entered with a Chun-Li spin kick.
Fuck. I'm having so much fun already. Hey, thanks for jumping on here and talking to
Yeah, of
me on the pod.
course.
Um, season 5. This will be in season
Right.
5. Yeah, and
Congratulations.
I'm excited. Thanks. I feel like talking to like really cool people about all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
You in particular, fascinating.
I
Um,
try to be. Um, yeah.
because I was talking to Cocky last maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was just like, I feel like Twitter saw like your relationship blossom. Like if at least it felt like that for me, because as I was like scrolling Twitter, like I could just see like the beginnings and then like this transition. But I also knew more information because we had spoken, but still it was kind of like, oh, like Bader's meeting online and like falling in love and like being
Yeah.
together. It's very sweet and endearing. Do you feel like that?
I yeah, it's been a dream, not to sound so cliche, but like it's just truly like when you meet someone and vibe with them so much and you have so many interests in common, but you're also different enough to where it's not being stuck in a rut or being like twin boyfriends, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, I'm a hopeless romantic at heart. I always have been. I'm the dude that like watches rom-coms alone in his room crying because that's fun to me.
What's your favorite
So,
rom-com? I like a good rom-com.
like it just it changes like
Like Never Been Kissed.
Never Been Kissed, classic. I love it gets a lot of hate, but I love Failure to Launch. That's funny. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Um,
Oh yeah, those are real
The
OG
Proposal.
rom-coms.
Um, like just
The
I'm
Proposal.
just thinking what pops into my head because probably seen them all. I Walk to
Uh,
Remember.
Legally
Like
Blonde.
yeah, sure. That's the Bible, so I have to know that.
The Bible. Well, what about rom-coms do you enjoy?
I don't know. I think it's because I've kind of had I used to have a cynical view of, like, love,
Mm.
and I think the otherworldly nature of it, like, this would never happen, like, that there's a reason it's in movies and it's like a dream or whatever, like something that people want because they don't get in real life.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I used to think of love as like a unicorn. I wanted to believe that they were out there, and I like as hard as I believed that it was out there, they're just not.
Hmm.
Um, and then as I grew older and had life experiences and met certain people, love became very real. And then it's like there are unicorns out there. They're called rhinoceroses, rhinoceri.
Yeah, I also too think like rom-coms feed into that adolescent feeling of romanticism, right? Like you are walking down the sidewalk, you turn a corner, you bump into someone. And I feel like I felt the same way for such a long time because it was all like I didn't grow up with a good representation of what love is or could be or was.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I also did turn to media to like satisfy those things and to be like, oh, it is can be this thing, but then um it just got very straight.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna get really, like, into it, maybe there's an aspect of it for me where, like, um, you don't see those types of stories for gay people, or when I was growing up, like, it was always the
Yeah.
heteronormative thing, and then when I
Hmm.
was realizing that I was gay, I mean, I kind of started accepting it later in life, but,
Hmm.
like, you and while I was watching these rom-coms and these love stories and all of this, you didn't really see that for gay people. All the gay movies out at the time were, like, always tragic, where somebody gets killed or
AIDS.
beat up or, yeah, dies somehow, and it's just this
Yeah.
great tragedy of all the gay stories, and I think that's probably why I don't really watch a whole lot of gay movies because
Yeah.
it's just so much of that, the tragedy, the this sad story, or they loved each other for a time and then something happened, you
Hmm.
know? They didn't
It's
really
not
get
like
a
an
happy ending.
it's never like a ever after.
Right.
And I also too feel like as much as we're in a day and age now where films are being financed, like gay films are being financed to show gay lifestyles. Like, somehow they always fail to give me that romantic feeling because I just feel like
Yeah.
somewhere in this film, actually, I'm trying to think of like the one
Like,
film that made me feel like that.
I know every movie should have conflict and, there's
Yeah.
that moment to get over towards the end of the 3rd or the start of the 3rd act. But yeah, just the gay movies of before just felt like, you know, so terrible. Like
Yeah, and
Prayers
it just
for
comes from like a
Bobby or,
cynical place, I feel.
yeah, different things like that. But the
I
rom-com
just
happy ending, and that's what I
I
saw.
don't buy it because it just like feels I don't know, maybe I'm just jaded that way.
Yeah,
And
I don't
like the
maybe
gay
it's just
community just being like, that's not ever gonna happen. Or at
yeah,
least it never happened to me. Like I don't that's a choice, right? To like choose not to be cynical about it. Cause I'm just like, okay,
yeah.
fine, whatever. Like it never really happened for me. It might not. I don't whatever. But like,
I
yes, it can
love
happen to anybody else. Which is why watching you and Cocky, like that's endearing, like that's authentic to me. And I feel like, well, fuck it. Like if I
it.
don't get it in TV, I'll get it on my Twitter.
Yeah, it's been a dream, it's still very, very new, and, we're coming up on our 1st year, this month, so
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, it's
You're
been
doing it in the month of October. That's perfect.
mhm.
Are you gonna have a Halloween themed anniversary? That's a big
Um,
question.
Almost certainly, just because,
What's
it's
wait, what's
fun.
is there like your favorite Halloween rom-com? Is there one?
Rom-com for Halloween.
If there's not, there should be one. Not
Yeah,
Hocus Pocus. Like Hocus Pocus is not a rom-com,
I
right?
don't know if that's the rom-com iconic, but
I feel like there should. There's a missed opportunity there.
maybe,
Oh, you know what was a good kind of semi representation of like love and longing and yearning was Weekend. Do you remember this movie, Weekend by Andrew Haight? He also had a short TV show on HBO called Looking, which is
Yeah, I
kind of
watched a little
similar.
bit of that.
Okay, so he has a film. You should check it if you never watched it. It's called Weekend. It's a takes place in England, I think, and it's basically a story of this guy that meets this boy at a one night, like they have like a one night stand, and they have like this beautiful connection, and like for like the one evening or whatever.
Yeah.
Which and I just the reason why it worked or why it felt good to me was like there was no joke in that movie. Like it was like straight, like just connection and energy and like vibe and like yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Like
good.
being gay wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't like a
We're not
storyline
it
in
wasn't a
itself.
right, the faggots weren't the punchline.
Right. They're
Like
just two people in love who happen to be gay. It just happens to be two dudes or whatever.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we need in media all over the place.
And as much
Um
as Heartstopper, I think they're doing great work.
the Who, Hearts. I don't think I've ever seen a single episode of that.
It's it's for the next generation for sure. It's like,
Like Gen Z.
yeah, like it's wholesome and there's no like scary drama, like, you know,
I'm like still working on my resentment because like I grew up with shit like Philadelphia.
yeah,
Like I don't need to see a story about a man fighting AIDS,
yeah,
fighting for his life. Like what does that say to me? Sorry.
we are scarred.
I'm traumatized. As a millennial, like we've been through so much. Like
100%.
life is vacant. Like
Right there with
it,
you.
no one's gonna save us. You're just kind of like out there, like, and you gotta make it happen for yourself. But hey, sexy Twitter, by the way, sexy X.
Yeah.
I enjoy your feed, and I feel like people should check it out. Um, if you're so inclined, go check out RyRy. Where'd you get it's just Ryan.
Huh? Oh,
Is it
yeah,
Riri or RyRy?
Ry, because my name, yeah, right, my name's Ryan.
Ryan. Okay. Yeah, I
Uh,
figured that. I figured as much. Um, congrats on 10K.
Thank you. Yeah,
You're
just have.
welcome. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's always fun when people like follow you and support you. What's been like the reception interaction to your work?
It's been very encouraging because, like, I'm fairly new to this myself, and I can kind of trace the amount of time I've been doing this with around the time that I've known Kaki. You know, they kind of go hand in hand. So as things are happening, like at first it happens slow, and then of course meeting someone like him, people are bound to notice and be like, "Who's this guy?" You know. But
Mhm.
all in all, it's been very supportive and honestly, it's weird to say, like, heartwarming. I've met some of the greatest people that I've ever met in some of the, darkest corners of the internet or the dirtiest corners, you know?
Yeah, I feel like dirty for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I feel um I enjoy meeting and talking to people that I do see online because of course social media is a tool that we use to represent ourselves to people in a way that we want to be seen, not necessarily our authentic selves. So like I always enjoy like getting past the sex to like the
Yeah.
person because it humanizes you and um it makes you more sexy, I feel.
I agree. I think I've learned through this process, that I am a little bit demisexual, but not like
Hmm.
not so far as to say I am a demisexual. I think I have tendencies, but like, yeah, like the connection is something that just makes it almost like all the more sweeter connecting with someone.
Yeah. Um and also more spiritual, which I
Yeah.
found interesting when I was reading your bio or the questionnaire that I made you fill out.
Mhm.
Because I was like, oh, like a higher power. And then I was like, is he religious? And then a couple of sentences later, you're like, but I'm not religious. Like, I don't believe in organized religion.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. So like I used to be Christian, like, and I went on that journey myself because I had questions, and my parents were. I was very blessed with, you know, very understanding parents who didn't try to force me to go into any type of church or religion or anything like that.
Hmm.
they're believers, but they've always told me that like, don't trust the churches. Organized religion is a business. It's a scam. If you have questions, go seek them out.
Oh,
Um,
it's really like self-aware of them.
yeah, I'm very fortunate that they let me kind of go on my little journey of self-discovery, and like I
Mhm.
found what I needed to find, and then realized that they were kind of right all along. And so I do have a faith. I just don't know what that faith name is. I just, I believe there is something bigger than me. I'm not so ignorant to assume that I know everything about it. So,
Agnostic, maybe?
yeah, I think maybe I looked up different terms because everything needs a term nowadays. I think it's deist, where you believe in a
Mm,
deity, but you
mm,
don't you don't give it a name because I mean, we don't know. We don't know. There could be nothing. There could be something I don't know. And I'm open-minded enough to be right or wrong about it, but it gives me comfort to believe in something, even though I don't
mhm.
fully understand what that something is. So that's when, I don't know, like whenever I'm talking about um, masturbating, like there's different subcultures of baiters, of course. And then you come across some which lead into others. And that's kind of how I found the type of baiters that treat it like a like worship almost, like worshiping the penis and like um, giving thanks to the penis between your legs or whatever, and masturbating as a form of like prayer almost. And then they
Mhm.
have really cool visuals, and I was like, whoa, this is wild. Like I can really get into this, and I don't follow it as like hardcore as they do. Like it's just something that is kind of interesting to me that they love their penis so much and the pleasure that it gives them that they like almost like worship it, pray to it, give
Yeah.
thanks or be blessed with it type of thing. And it's very interesting. Like I'm very into
Yeah.
different kinks and worldviews about pleasure and sex.
Yeah, that's a cool space to be. I think it's definitely healthy. I think it's always an opportunity to reflect inward and just figure out who you are as an individual and
Yeah.
have people in your life that you can experiment with that are consensual about it. Um, I also too feel for a long time like penis as worship. But I was always conflicted because like you, I also grew up Christian. I was actually raised Christian Baptist. And so just coming to terms with the idea of just like being indoctrinated. Unlike your situation, like my parents were like full firm believers. Like they were just like, if you don't buy this, you're not associated with us. Like you're going to hell. Like, it was traumatic in that way. And so just learning to like de-shame that for myself and then um find comfort in sexuality as a form of healing has been challenging and enlightening at the same time.
It's a journey, and everybody's journey moves at different paces, and people who you like the church indoctrinates you, and ties up those knots in your mind, and
Hmm.
sometimes your
Yeah.
parents tie up the knots as well, and you've got to take some time to untie all of that and kind of sift through it
Yeah.
all, figure it out what works for you.
Mm. You have such a calm presence about you. Do you get that a
Yeah.
lot?
Uh,
Do you get that often? Do you get that?
um, kind of sometimes. Like
Excuse me.
I'm going through school to be a therapist, so sometimes I've had patients or not patients but clients, um, and they've said some similar things sometimes. I think it's the low timbre of my voice.
Sometimes.
I think I don't know.
No, it's like your overall self. I think I don't know, I often desire to be more that way because I feel like I just have much more anxious energy around me. Um and so I'm often just like it's nice to be able to attune to you right now and be on your level because for the most part I'm not like in my everyday life like and it's funny how I do it subconsciously like I'll just like And people point it out to me and I won't even see it myself. They're just like, what's the hurry? Like, chill. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
I feel like I'm being normal, but I'm obviously not because people are perceiving it as something else. So I don't know.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
just nice.
an being anxious is something that I'm fortunate enough to not really struggle with.
Oh,
I mean,
so
I have the
lucky.
normal levels of anxiety of like an everyday person. Like, you know, this morning when I realized that I was on the wrong time zone and I was running late, then I felt some anxiety. Um,
Sure. But you're not just sitting there in bed like thinking,
no,
I'm gonna
no,
die right now.
no, yeah. My struggle,
But
because
others.
everybody's got something.
Sure.
Mine's more of like the depression side of it. The very another low, um, flat kind of struggle.
Well, that's what I deal with that too, and I just feel like it's so extreme. In my life, I've just been so extreme. And my therapist, um, was having this conversation with her. She's like, "You gotta lower down your baseline, buddy." And I was like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "We need to just get you to a place where you're not constantly at a nine. Your baseline would be like at a three. Like that.
Yeah,
That's the work that we need to do." But I am guilty of like not doing the work. So
but I
ultimately, I have no one to blame but myself.
well, but you're doing the work, right? Like you're seeing someone and you're talking to someone, which I truly believe
I mean, it
everybody should
was,
have a
yeah.
therapist. I don't care how
Oh,
well
oh,
you
absolutely.
you
And
are.
therapy should be paid for by like the
Yeah.
state or the government. Like that shit should be funded. It's so needed. And I honestly feel like, man, I should go back for therapy. I should have gone to school for therapy.
It's it's been a really cool, like, realization to, like, go through school and get these degrees and feel like I'm doing something that I'm good at and something that, like,
Mm,
I have my heart in.
yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah,
important.
I'm an advocate for mental health, across the board. I think everybody should have a therapist. I think it should be easy to get a therapist because we were talking about Gen Z earlier, but one thing they are doing well is putting mental health at kind of like the forefront and like treating it the same as physical health. That really
Mhm.
kind of boomed and came about with like their coming of age and realizing,
Yeah,
this is important. I don't want to deal with this. I need help. So let's do something about it. And they have been. So that's great.
yeah. I think that's great too.
Mhm. But, masturbation can always be a form of therapy as well. And it is.
Yeah, no, I firmly believe that. I feel like in the conversations that I've had with people in the scene, like I just feel like ultimately, um, fundamentally, baiting is like a focus to or like a attention to like masturbate, like self-care, really.
Yeah.
And I think our community, um, no, I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna generalize. But yeah, no, I do find meditation or masturbation can be really helpful.
Yeah.
Um, what's your
I,
practice like?
I practice like,
Yeah, your meditation practice.
um, it's like, I, I think I mentioned it earlier, but like the whole, um, so I'm a baiter who likes to wear gear. I wear, rings and weights and
Hmm.
different stuff. Not every time in the beginning, but now I'm noticing that my bait almost doesn't feel like it's going to be at its peak without my gear on, you know?
Hmm.
So whenever I know there's a session about to happen and I'm like pulling out one of these drawers or my drawer over here and like laying the rag out, laying the weights out, laying the like the Bader bomb or whatever, the oil, laying it all out almost like religiously. It's like I don't know, like I'm getting ready to worship, and that's kind of how it's felt the past few times because I don't know, like I'm also a popper baiter, so like poppers helps I think open up not just your body but your mind a little bit, and then like
Hmm.
you're more into your penis, and it feels you know like ecstasy, like religious. I don't know. I don't. It's hard to explain. Not
No,
to
you're
get
doing a
into
good
things
job
like
about it.
superpowers, but like sometimes that's just how you feel. So connected with yourself, whoever's in the room with you, the porn. It's just like I lay it all
Yeah.
out, grease up, I get it all on, I pick the porn I want to watch, and I don't know if people have seen pictures of mine and Kaki's office, but we have one, two, three, four, five, six screens against the wall, and then we usually have like our phones and other screens, so we get fully immersed here. Um,
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that somewhere on someone's Twitter,
yeah,
like either yours or cocky.
yeah,
Or like your sweet setup, and I'm just like, God damn, that's really nice.
yeah.
I guess I'm a little embarrassed to share this story, but like I was gaming one day
Mhm.
and I got really frustrated. I threw my remote at the TV and I fucked my TV. Like it was completely
Yeah,
smashed. Like I like cracked the screen and I was like, no, like what am I gonna do with my porn? Like I
yeah, mm,
literally that day I went out and got another one. Like I was like, I'm not gonna live without access to this thing because it's so convenient. I just thought it was funny. But the
yeah.
first thing I thought was like, fuck, I fucked my porn. Like I can't like not watch this. Would you consider yourself then a pornosexual? Well, you consider yourself a lot of things where you think
Yeah,
about it
so
now.
pornosexual, it definitely falls under the umbrella. Like I love porn, and especially being with the person that I'm with, who has had the wildest appreciation for porn that I've ever seen.
Hmm.
I've never seen a collection like his, and he kind of like showed me like how to appreciate all types of porn, and you can find something hot in almost anything if you just kind of like open up to it and give it a chance. And I've started collecting porn on my Telegram page, and like I get the appeal, and it's just like, especially now having such intense baits, you just really see the porn in a different light when you're in that zone. And then like when I watch it
Hmm.
back the next morning, not baiting or whatever, I'm like, oh, that was amazing. At this part, I felt like this and this, and like I love porn. Porn is art. Honestly, it's kind of cheesy sometimes, and sometimes it's earth shattering. And then like it's just a matter of perspective. You can play the same video in a room of five people, and they'll tell you five different things about why they like or dislike that video. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, I was I talking to Cocky about it? Who were just like, oh yeah, you can really tell a lot about a person by the porno that they choose to watch.
Yeah, and what
Because
they
it
don't want
falls
to do.
Yeah, no, that's actually very true. So I'm often just like curious to know, like, oh, like show me something you like. That's
Mm,
always like a prompt for me because I'm just like,
yeah,
oh, they're asking the right questions, I feel.
because I was getting asked that too, like what types of porn do you like, and then you have your go tos or whatever, but you don't want to feel like you're too vanilla, or you don't want to be like you don't want to send someone a video of like someone gooning over somebody's feet that it like aren't into feet at all, and they're like, "Whoa, like
Hmm.
no, that's stupid. I
Yeah,
would never try that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. So I can't talk to you about my foot fetish or that side of it, at all."
yeah. Does that make you feel? How does that make you feel when you have to like
Not
not being able to
too
like
bad,
talk
but like,
about your whole self, your whole sexual self?
well, it's like I'll never be afraid to talk about the things that I like. I'll just remember that I can't talk about it so much with certain people if, they're not open to hearing like why I like the things that I like,
Hmm.
or like giving it a try. Don't knock it till you try it kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I just I wasn't a big watcher of straight porn. I never was until Hockey kind of told me like he put some on one or two of his screens on the wall,
Hmm.
and that way, if I wasn't really into it, I could just pay attention to what's over here on my screens.
Yeah.
Um, but then he told me in the middle of a bait, like he's like, "Can you watch this really quick? There's this part coming up that I really like that I think so goony, and like you can't really see anything like this in gay porn. It's just like people don't realize how goony straight porn can be because they zoom in on the dick, like going in and out of, whatever. And the, yeah, sometimes it's going into a vagina, but like that doesn't mean you can't appreciate the penis and like how it's fucking the vagina and things like that. And I was like, you know what, you're
Mm.
right. Just because there's a vagina in the video and I'm not really into vaginas sexually, I can find something sexual in this video. and he was
Mm-hmm.
really and, the next couple of times, I found myself kind of looking over at his screens and, bouncing back and forth, and then there was a really hot guy with a really beautiful woman, and I was like, "Wow, and this is actually really enjoyable." So, like, I think that's cool, like, sharing porn with people that maybe they haven't really given it a chance, and then there's that light
Mm-hmm.
bulb moment of like, "Oh, this is actually hot. I like this about this, and I didn't think that I would, or I didn't realize that I was into this thing." That's cool.
Yeah, and it can
Show
also
people that.
transfer. It can also transfer over to like IRL.
Yeah.
Like, you can take those energies and be like, oh, like maybe I do find women attractive. I mean, it happened to me. I was talking to, God, his name escapes me. I just interviewed him too. He was the winner of the last Bate Off.
Adam?
Yes, Adam. I was talking to Adam. Just about like bisexuality and like bi energy and like how that really kind of manifested itself while being within the brotherhood. Like, you come across so many different men who are into so many different things.
Yeah.
And I think for the longest time I was like shut off from straight baiters. I was like, we don't really have much in common. But that's not true at all. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. And then having conversations with them about sex and like them sharing their sex. And I just found myself just, my penis just really responded to straight sex, like women and the beauty of it and how they can be really highly sexual people. And yeah, so I feel like, I don't know, like I achieved by essence.
No, I kinda get that, but, like, I'm I don't think I'll ever be sexually attracted to a woman. Like, I can, like, see a woman and think that she is sexy, but, like, I wanna be, like, friends with her, you know? I don't wanna take her to bed, I wanna be friends with the hot bitch.
Oh my God.
Like,
I
but
feel
I can go so far as to say, like, because of, like,
that's so
the
real.
appreciation for straight porn, like, I like, say there was, like, a meetup or whatever, and it is at, like, a bisexual guy's house or whatever, and he's like,
Uh-huh.
"My wife or girlfriend's gonna be there. Is it cool if she, like, watches or something?" And I'm like, before I would say no, because that would make me feel, like, weird, but
Uh-huh.
now, like, I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, she can watch. Can she hold a camera?" Like
No, yeah, I feel that way now. Like, I feel like more inclined to. Well, I was talking to Adam, and I was like, by definition, I should be having sex with women if I want to consider myself bi. But under whose under whose definition? Like, this is my
Right.
life. I created myself, and so and but I didn't. I think ultimately within the conversation, I just was like, maybe just on the cusp, and I'm
Mhm.
comfortable there. Like, I do enjoy the idea of like fantasizing with another guy. And I think ultimately maybe that's my journey to like be able to work myself way up to do have sex with women and independently seek that out for myself rather than fantasize a situation with like another male. Um, but yeah,
That's cool that
penis
you
focused for sure.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally get that.
um, Beta Bros. So it's you. Okay. So I found out that you got introduced to the community by Sniffer Bro
Yeah.
up at
Um,
up for San Francisco. He's a
yeah.
sweetie.
Oh, yeah.
When I met him online, I was just like, oh my God, you're so adorable.
Heart of Gold, that one. He's 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's really sweet. So like, how did he introduce you to the community?
It was just like we started chatting on, Twitter first, and I think it was me that reached out to him because I thought he was cute, and, just started chatting and getting to know each other, and then, um, when we started talking about, like, interests and stuff, and, he was telling me more about, like, what he likes sexually and, like, what he, enjoys, and I'm just like, "Huh, so you mostly masturbate?" And I was like, "Okay." And then I wanted to know more about that, and, like, 'cause he mentioned, on he mentioned before that he's not really into penetrative sex anymore, and I very much am, and then I was like trying to wrap my mind around like not doing that, and I was like, dang, I don't know if I could let that go. So that's why I don't really consider myself a solo sexual, even though I can enjoy solo sexual things.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so he was just telling me more about it, and then he told me about Bait World, and he's like, you should make a profile on Bait World and talk to other people and kind of see what it's all about. So I
Mm.
did, and he showed me the website, and I was like, first of all, I was shocked there was a whole website dedicated to that. Never heard of it
Hmm.
before. And then that was around the time of the Bait Off. I was like, wait, so not only is there a website, but there's a competition, like a video competition of this that do different skills. And I'm like, what? So like I was immediately intrigued and, kept talking to people and digging deeper. And there was a point where Sniffer Bro and I like talked on the phone almost every day. Uh, like, and he would answer questions and stuff, and I'd just be like, what's this, and learning the terminology and all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, if not for him, I would not have um, found the beta community when I did. I'm sure I still would have, but what's special about when I found it is because obviously Cocky Prince was competing in that season of the Bait Off, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, who's this? Who's this gentleman? Who's this half pink haired gentleman? I can get to know this person."
He's such like a personality, right? Like he's
Oh
such
yeah,
like his aesthetic.
he's
I
and
love his stuff.
he. I know a lot of people like will make a persona in the public space,
Mm.
and then at home when the lights are off, and you're just on the couch, like you become yourself. I can honestly say that he is what is portrayed, like, almost all the time. Like, he doesn't separate a character from reality. He is the
Okay.
cocky prince through and through, and,
Is it
like
healthy? Okay.
well, I think he's dating me that we can talk about stuff like that. We can get to the heart of that. But no, like, not in a creepy way, but just like,
Maybe
he
he's just being
embodies
real, like he's being real.
yeah,
He's being himself
he doesn't
24/7, which is nice.
yeah, and he
He's
reached
not
a point
faking it.
where exactly, because he tells me all the time about the pink hair specifically. That's his signal to the world of like, I'm doing this because I want to. I know it draws attention to me, and I don't always necessarily want that attention, but I feel good with pink hair, or I feel good wearing, this shirt or these effeminate colors that if you can give colors gender, which I don't think you can, but he's
Mm.
like, I like pink. I want to lean into that, and it makes me happy. So but, like, the way he thinks and feels about penis too, like, what he portrays in his videos and stuff is how he honestly feels about it in real life. He gives it power and respect and, he builds a life around it, and I think that's really special.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. I think when I was speaking with him, there was a sense of uh, like authenticity for sure. Like I even when I first came onto the scene, like I had already been doing it, so I was definitely gravitated towards that because it's so he's like eye candy to me, like in
Yeah,
the space. Just like
100%.
yeah, just like he's just like oh, like there's something like pretty to look at.
But he,
Himself,
like
yes, he is pretty, but like just the way he like showcases
yeah,
his sexuality, like
he
it's
had opened my mind up much further, and I already thought that I had an open mind about, you know, a lot of things, but he's really shown me another side of how to view sex, porn, pleasure, and all of it, It's
mhm.
nothing to be ashamed of, that you should do what you wanna do, live authentically, and just, don't be a character online for people's enjoyment. Be yourself, and the people who care about you will flock to you,
Mm,
you know?
mhm, mhm.
And that makes it easier because you don't have to have that split personality if you're just, you know, tapping into who you are in a different space, you know?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Um, what's the future for the both of you content wise? I
Um,
feel like you're both already making content.
yeah, we've dabbled, it's
Like
something
I just pulled up a tweet of yours and it's both of you like fucking pumpkins.
Oh yeah, that we did that last year.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's coming up again, so it's like
yeah, we
it's also really sexy to see you two together because like you're so vastly different.
right,
Like
yeah,
you're so different from one another. You're just like, holy shit, it's just
and
the
that
juxtaposition.
that's something that he kind of showed me too. Is like no two baiters are the same. Like you can have the same interests, a lot of them, but like people goon differently, people bait differently. Like gooning
Hmm.
doesn't always mean make a silly face or bait in a silly position. It's
Yep.
gooning is letting go, and that looks different
Yeah.
for people. And that's a good
Yeah.
example of that video because he's very much into like making the goony faces because that's how he authentically feels in that moment.
Yeah.
And watching that video back, it's apparent to me that I tend to look more possessed whenever I look.
Possessed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's fitting for Halloween.
But
But I don't think possessed. I think it just goes back to your calm energy. Like you're just very like you just feel very centered. And so like your bait feels very like cemented. Like, ugh,
yeah,
this is but also
I'm
too, like you're just like a big person. Like I get it too. Like I am the same way. Like you're 6'5",
yeah.
which I didn't realize when I was reading your bio. I was like, dude, this guy's like huge. It's like really cool. But I'm like 6'3", so I feel like I'm very much that way where I'm just like when I was talking to Kaki, he was like, yeah, I love squatting
Mm.
and like baiting and like just having my legs open. But I'm just like, I'm not
That's
doing that, bro. Like that takes too much energy for
I
me.
feel like
Like
that's a privilege for the short kings out there.
absolutely. Like I
Kaki,
feel
I
like
love you, but you are a short king.
and you know what? I love to see it. Please bait in that position because it gets me off. But like I
Yes,
think
100%.
relatable to you. Like I'm just like I need to like cement my big body somewhere, get
Yep.
really nice and comfy, like do my thing, and then just
I need a
have like,
lumbar pillow behind my back. I need like.
yo, that's so fucking real, dude. That lower back, holy
Like
shit, it's no joke, man.
I know,
And
I
it's only
know,
gotten
but
worse.
he'll be doing some crazy positions, and then he'll encourage me to try it, and I will, and I'm like, oh, these damn knees.
You're like, why are my thighs burning? And I've only been in this position for like less than 30
I know.
seconds.
Like, okay, this is fun. I'm gonna sit back down.
Or I'm always so like impressed when I'm having penetrative sex and I
Mm.
literally just lie back and this person is squatting over me. I was like, how are you physically doing that for so long?
Amazing.
It feels amazing. Don't stop, but I could
Yes,
never.
no, yeah. We'll talk about it after, but this is amazing. Like, or during the review section, we'll talk about it.
Oh my God. I love it now. I feel like, when I was growing up, like maybe you can relate to this, but like were you ever just like maybe picked on and you're just like, okay, like why am I getting all this attention for being tall? Like what the fuck?
Things that like there's always been comments about how tall I was. I think so I said I'm always the tallest person in the room, but that became like not really the case once I got to high school. There was
Hmm.
one person in the entire school that was taller than me, and I'll never forgive him for it. But he was like only an inch taller than me. But then suddenly I wasn't the tallest anymore, and everybody liked to point
Yeah.
that out. But no, to answer your question, I never really I almost get like survivor's guilt a little bit because I never really had a hard
What?
time in high school or
Oh.
school. Like I flew under the radar. I didn't look or sound or act a certain way that would maybe draw attention to me. I mean, yeah, every now and then people would make comments because they noticed that I never really had a girlfriend or like expressed interest in girls.
Hmm.
And then that's when I realized I needed to get a beard, like a fake girlfriend. And I had a
Oh.
couple of those, bless their hearts. Thank you for your service. Like,
Wait, did they know or they
oh
were just
no.
like
I
fully in
mean,
love
if
with
they
you?
did, I surely didn't tell them, but I never really had any heat on me from like,
Where did you grow up?
I grew up, so I was born in Conroe down by Houston, and
Hmm.
then we moved to Nacogdoches for a couple years, and then
What you
we
call me? Wait, what did you say? Nacogdoches?
Nacogdoches, yeah,
That is a fun word.
that's the place in Texas.
Does it
Nacogdoches,
mean
Texas.
does it mean something?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I was there when I was a kid. That was our first family home. I come from somewhat humble beginnings,
Mhm.
and then we moved to Granbury, which is where I did the majority of my growing. Moved there in second grade, and then my parents are still there.
Okay, cool. Texas. So Texas born.
Oh yeah, Texas born and raised.
What is going on in Texas with porn? Like I was chatting with a little bro and I sent him a link to porn. He was like, "Oh, I wish I could, but it's blocked." Is porn blocked in Texas?
Yeah, so
How are you accessing porn then?
you use a VPN. You put your
Of
internet
course.
signal for somewhere
Of
else that
course.
has it, and then it can come through. Yeah, it's really annoying.
It is
Because
really annoying. So that's why you're like collecting all this stuff. You're just storing it away.
yeah, I mean, that wasn't the point in the beginning, but then
No, I
when,
feel like
you
it's
know, all the
needed.
legislative changes and stuff happened,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't get on porn websites anymore
Is
here.
that how you all are showcasing your porn on Twitter? You're just accessing it through you're accessing X through VPN?
Um, X
Or is
is
X is allowed?
still allowed. It's sites like Pornhub and I think like X Hamster and like sites dedicated purely to porn
To porn.
are
What about
blocked.
Bait World? Is Bait World blocked for you?
No, it's not.
Hmm, that's
Um,
interesting.
maybe because it's not as well known to the people that are not letting us have it.
Or maybe it's people thinking that baiting isn't real sex, so they're just like
There you
whatever
go.
about it. And I was like, well, fuck you, because it
Yeah.
is. So block this shit. I'm kidding.
Block it like all the rest, equal
That's
rights
right.
against
That's right. God damn it. I'm so over it. The other day I was on a rant and I was just like, don't give me this bullshit profile shit on X or on like Grinder and Scruff about like, oh, I'm looking for real sex and no side bullshit. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, you are a sack of shit, first and foremost.
Close-minded, like just
It's just so silly. Like this,
sex is
so
so
I
much
think
more than a penis in a hole. Like,
yeah, which is what we were taught, right? Like sex is to procreate. It's like even when I so then I started thinking, well, like, well, what is sex? I'm going to define it. So then I
right?
think Webster's dictionary still has a definition as a penis inserted into a vagina for
Mm,
procreation or pleasure. And I was like, really? This is so
that's wild.
old.
That's wild.
And I think that's what bugged me the most, like just this like antiquated idea of
Like,
I don't know,
I
because I feel that uh-huh.
oh, I was just gonna say, like you're kind of firing me up here because I'm really passionate about that. Like, sex is what you make of it. Like,
Yeah.
it could be intercourse. It could be two people sharing an intimate bait session side by side with each other.
Yeah.
If there
Yep.
is a pleasurable feeling and you're sharing it with somebody or yourself, and it ends in, I mean, not that it has to end in an orgasm, but like, sexual pleasure, that to me is sex. No matter what you're doing, if you're getting sexual pleasure out of it, that is what sex is to you. Like, you define your own
Hmm.
sex.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what triggered me was like this
Mm.
idea that masturbation isn't as like manly or masculine. And I think for me, like growing up, in a lot of ways, I think when I okay, what am I trying to say? There's a lot of thoughts going in my head.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that you hear them saying it's not manly or whatever, but like,
Well,
not that
it's not necessarily like them saying it. It's just it gives me the sense that that's what they feel, right? Like as a
because you're not
man,
out
you
getting
should be right, you should be
it.
getting as much pussy or as much whatever as you possibly can. Um, but I think for me, the challenging or the triggering is like, why is my own masculinity being questioned, which it always has all my life, because I just feel like for a while, I think when I was younger, I experienced gender dysphoria, not in that I wanted to be feminine or
Mm.
more on like the woman spectrum, but I always just felt really odd. I've always felt strange. The best now as an adult that I can come to terms with is like just feeling really alien in my own body, like not really liking the majority of the popularity of things. Like I was kind of like, yes, always beating to my own wait, what's
Marching to the beat of your own drum.
that part.
Yeah.
And so now like as an adult, like I've just always had like this fighting spirit of like I am completely valid in this. Like I need to carve my own space, even as
Completely.
to say like I am probably half alien. Like I want to take a DNA test and just kind of like
Yeah.
reveal that I'm like half reptilian or some shit.
Lucky you.
Because I've always felt that constant oddness. Like I've never felt really manly or maleness or like I don't know. I was just always for lack of a better word, a freak, a punk.
Mhm.
Um, but it's fun for me. Like it's just really, it's interesting for me to challenge it on everything
I
and the
just
way I express myself.
it's crazy what people choose to get upset about or, like,
Hmm.
they're so quick to, like, put you in a box or put a label on you or tell you that you should behave a certain way or you should have different, like, drives in life, and it's like, "How about you worry about yourself, and I'll worry about over here. If I'm not bothering you, you're not bothering me, then why are we having this conversation?" Like,
Yeah, no, it's true.
you don't wanna be
Like,
in my orbit, and you don't wanna do and say the things that I do and say. How about you don't? How about you
yeah,
stay over in your orbit, and hopefully we never have to see each other again.
I completely agree 100% because I'm
Yeah,
just like, if you're not fucking me, paying me, or feeding me, then you ain't shit to me. It's nothing to me, bro.
completely.
But that's like a while. That
Yeah,
was like a while, like a journey to be like blah blah. I don't know. To me, I think like baiting is punk. Like it's so fucking punk to be solosexual. Like you're just fucking doing your own thing. You don't need anyone else to like satisfy the sexual need. You are fully complete. Like I
and
can
there
100% get off on myself. Like I'm not even stressed about it.
and to that point, like, as someone who enjoys all forms of sex and I want to, like, have as many forms of sex as possible and see what all is out there, I want
Yeah.
to come in as many ways as I can. Um, I will, at the end of the day, always
Yeah,
believe
you do.
that nobody can give you an orgasm like you can.
Yes.
Nobody,
Yeah.
because it's your body that you live with, and you don't have to teach
Mhm.
someone or you don't have to, trial and error it. You know how to make you feel the best that you can feel sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like a combination of all three areas of who you are, right? Physical, spiritual, and mental.
Yeah,
Like, who are you really in all those spaces? And when you begin to discover the power that you hold in each, you kind of like, it's like, like you just kind of
it's
like, it's a combination of all those things. And you're just like, you are
empowering.
this like beautiful, sexual, viable person,
Yeah,
regardless of what anybody else thinks.
and, like, that kinda plays into my whole shtick is, like, if you like, I know lust is considered a sin or whatever, that if you ascribe to that belief system, but, like, I don't know, I'm not afraid of feeling those lusty things or, like, you know, letting yourself, get to a point of being pleasured and pleasuring others that are, consenting and, like,
Mhm.
it's just, like, give in to the lust when you feel it, like, why does it have to be a scary word? It doesn't have to be, you know, a bad thing,
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
yourself that pleasure is powerful, I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. I also think people uh this journey looks different.
Yeah,
And so I try to concentrate on myself first and foremost to give myself grace when I am feeling those thoughts, that shame or that negativity. It's like, where did I learn that? I was taught that somewhere, and it's not my fault. Um, but also to give others grace. I do come across a lot of different people on social media that want to know more
yeah,
about baiting and soul sexuality, and then I'll like drop something and it's just like for them it's just like whoa, like completely unheard of, but for me it's completely normal, or I've worked through that process and I have to constantly remind myself like people are in different stages of a sexual awakening. So
in therapy, we call it meeting someone where they're at instead of trying to get
yeah.
them to be where they aren't ready to be. So if
Yes.
somebody comes in not able to do something or not understanding why something is,
Hmm.
and where they're at, and we give them the tools to kind of figure it out, and we're
Yeah.
kind of like a guidance. It's the same thing for for baiting and like solosexuality and, that side of it all. It does seem super foreign to people who aren't us,
Hmm.
and it's cool to kind of meet them there with little to no knowledge and kind of show them other options. You're not telling them you have to do this or you should do this, but you're having troubles in this area of your life. Here's another option that maybe you would find fulfillment from, you know?
Yeah. Have you read, have you heard of Dr. Eric Sprinkle?
No.
He wrote a book and I interviewed him for the pod. He wrote a book on the history of masturbation, the wonderfully, weirdly, something history of masturbation. I think you should read that book. I think you would actually really find it enjoyable.
I'm always looking for a good read and
Because I
like,
think that when you're speaking, like he was a therapist and now he's a professor of psychology or therapy or psychology. And so when I hear you speak, there's a lot of things that I recognize from that book in you, and I'm just like, oh, I feel like this is a really good source for you to like jump on.
yeah, I'm definitely intrigued because like one of my dreams is to write a book about um like kinks and fetishes and the psychology behind them and like how they come about and like
Hmm.
how people discover why they're into the things that they're into and like completely objectively.
Yeah.
It's always the psychology of kinks and fetish and things like that has always just been fascinating to me. I remember as
Yeah. Same.
younger, um, I can't remember the radio show of that old lady that would talk about sex late at night. You remember her?
Dr. Ruth,
Maybe I hate that I can't remember it, but like I
that
would
old lady.
that old lady, yeah.
I think
But
it was
she
Dr. Ruth. She
yeah,
passed. She's
yeah, she talked about things that I never heard anybody talk about. And like my parents gave me the birds and the bees talk for like, knowledge and reproductive education, but like never anything about, you know, sex for pleasure and things like that.
Mhm.
So hearing this person talk so openly about it, like on the radio, I was like, wow, should I be listening to this? Like I was constantly looking over my shoulder and like waiting for someone to walk in my room. And I was like, this is so crazy. What's she talking about? They like, what? And I'm just like, why? That's so wild. But yeah.
Isn't that wild how we think sex is wild? It's so
Yeah.
weird though, because like that's where we come from. It's how everyone is made, but yet we're so not willing to talk about it or express it. And we see people that do enjoy it
Yeah.
as bad people. It's so
Mhm.
bizarre. Like I thought that for the longest time, and it took time to like undo that kind of mentality or that kind of thinking.
For sure.
Um, Hey, thanks for coming on the pod
Of
to
course.
talk to me about you. I think it's really
Yeah.
exciting. I love being able to hold these conversations and just get a little bit more personal about some of my favorite like content creators in the community. So it's nice to chat and finally meet you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me on. Like,
Hmm.
I was so excited whenever you messaged me and nervous. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is crazy." Like the the big names come on this podcast. You know?
I know, and I'm really happy about that. Like I'm always just so grateful that people are just like willing to chat.
Yeah.
Well, it took time, which is nice. Like I feel like you have to like earn your keep.
Yeah.
Which I get because you're just like, oh, you're the newbie, whatever. Social media, it's so weird. I was talking to, do you know Brother Bader?
Not personally, but I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah. He was hanging out with me in my apartment the other day, and I was just like, I find it really interesting the power of social media and like the things you do via socials are so impactful. Like it means something. Like if you unfollow someone, if you follow someone, like it's a sign. Like
Yeah.
it's so bizarre to me. Like it's just so foreign to me to think that people hold that much weight in these spaces. But it's like,
Not to age myself, but it kind of gives the same energy as like the MySpace top 8 kind of thing.
yes,
You know?
yes, yes. That's exactly right. Because
You
you're just
moved me
like,
from
wait,
number 2 to
what?
number 3. Are you mad at me? Like,
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know what that means. I don't know. It's just so bizarre. I'm still trying to like wrap my head around it.
yeah. This
Uh,
was definitely a lot of fun, and, like, I feel like
yeah.
we didn't talk about, like, There's so much to talk about, you know, like, I feel like we were just, like, scratching the surface on
Well, then you will have to just come back for another, like a part two.
I'm so
I'm trying to do this
we'll be on
thing.
time next time, I promise.
No, it's fine. I mean, I was only waiting for a couple of minutes. And time changes are hard. Yeah, no, I would love to have you back for sure. And we'll do like a part two. But where can people find more about you?
I'm pretty much, at RyRyLust on everything, Twitter X, Bait World, um, Just for Fans. My Instagram is different. It's RyRy Everett 27 is my middle name, but I have a link tree on my, um, Twitter that has all that stuff in it.
Yeah, it does. And I will add it to the description box below. But yeah, thanks again for joining me, everyone listening to this podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. Very enlightening, very wonderful conversation with RyRyLust. Go follow them on their socials. I feel like most of it is not safe for work.
Most of it. Yeah, I think the only
Is on
I'm sorry,
Instagram.
the only safe for work would probably be my Instagram. I'm pretty
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, okay, cool. So go check out that stuff and him gooning with his sexy boyfriend. And I will see you on the next episode. Thanks again,
I
Ryan.
look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Bye. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Beastly. How much did you enjoy that episode of the Bate Escape Podcast? Don't we love RyRyLust? They're so smart, so sweet, so passionate about masturbation and gooning. They were so fun to talk to, and I really enjoyed having them on their pod. So, thank you so much, RyRy, for being on this pod and having a really wonderful conversation with me. Again, go follow all their socials at the link tree in the description box. A lot of it is not safe for work, so be forewarned. But they're really sexy, and they need the support, just like I need the support with this podcast. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that you enjoy it. If you liked this episode, go check out past episodes. I talked to so many different Goonie guests, so many different smart people that I talked to about this topic, and they're all really, really fun. As a reminder, if you can help your bro out and like, subscribe, share, and comment on this podcast, that would really help me out. This podcast comes out every 2 weeks, and I bring you really fascinating, fun guests to listen to. So, again, thank you so much for all your continued support, and I will see you on the next episode.